beat Narcissus in the 10 to 11 second range. But there's so much that can go wrong. Anything under 15 seconds was considered a pretty good fight. But if Narcissus wants to waste time, he can make the KO impossible and essentially kill the run. And what sort of fight do you think he gave Zallard on this run?
Nice. Good shit, Narcissus. You're so good. Let's see here. What is that? 2173? 12 seconds. Nope.
Run over. A small mistake plus a lot of bad luck. In just 2 fights, one of Zallard's best paces ever was completely destroyed. He had just lost 16 seconds, largely due to no fault of his own. Because, you see, Super Punch-Out does not care about the runner. It doesn't care what pace you're on. It doesn't care how badly you want the record. It doesn't care how well you're playing. It can take away your run whenever it feels. You can be on the run of your life, execute everything perfectly, but if you get bad luck, it's game over. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So, 244 was where the record stayed. More months went by, with no improvements in sight. Interestingly, in August 2015, a second person managed a sub-3 when Hootie pulled off a 253. But he was far from the record. Still, Zallard at least had a little bit of competition now. In September, Zallard did shave off another couple tenths of a second, but this wasn't the multiple second improvement he knew was possible. But on September 30th, he was gonna have a chance. A second behind the record, with 6 fights to go, Zallard entered Mad Clown, needing a good fight. He ended up with an 11, easily good enough. On Macho, he got the good luck for a 10-second fight. Narcissus didn't mess around too much, and he was able to get the KO at 11 seconds. Suddenly, Zallard was back in the lead.
Well, then.
Next up was Hoy, who we know can be just awful. But he got no ducks in phases 2 or 3. Yet another 11-second fight. And Zallard was 2 seconds ahead, with 2 fights to go. This run was on pace for a 241, the type of run Zallard had been looking for years. But there's one fight I haven't told you about yet, because Nick Bruiser has a twin brother that comes right before him. This is Rick Bruiser. Rick is a really straightforward fight. There's no luck involved for the first 2 phases, and the execution isn't too hard either. You get him dizzy in phase 1, then use counters and supers in phase 2. That stuff's fine. But then there's phase 3. The entire fight is made or broken on the first punch of this phase. If this high super lands, you'll finish the fight at 11 seconds. If it doesn't, you're getting a 16, or in rare cases a 14, but more often than not, it's a 16. That's a 5-second difference. Enormous for a game like this. 5/8 of the time, the super lands. 3/8 of the time, it does not. That's all there is to it. A little over half the time, Rick Bruiser will let you through, but 3 times out of 8, he will destroy your run. So, Zallard entered the fight 2 seconds ahead. A huge opportunity, but he had the threat of a massive time loss hanging over his head. And what did Rick Bruiser do? Well, it's Super Punch-Out, late on record pace. What do you think Rick did?
He didn't do it. So it's over. The run is dead.
No mercy. 244 is where the record would have to stay. Zallard took a break for a few months, but still, there was no real threat to his record. Hootie was still the second place runner, nearly 10 seconds behind. So, in early 2016, Zallard came back for more, praying he could get the last few seconds within his grasp. On April 14th, he had a run slightly behind with 4 fights to go. He had time to save against a 14 Narcissus split and managed a 13. Hoy was another fight with time to save, and once again he squeezed out a second. So, Zallard was ahead going into Rick Bruiser. If he would just stand still and take the uppercut, he was gonna have a shot at the record. He needed the 5/8 luck.
We got it.
And he got it. Zallard was now 2 Nick counters away from a world record.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Finally, Zallard had lowered the record. This wasn't the god run he was looking for. Dragon Chan gave kicks, Clown gave a 12, and the special circuit could have been better, but it was still a 243. After this run, Zallard took a step back not only from Super Punch-Out, but from speedrunning as a whole. For a year and a half, he didn't do any runs, giving other runners a serious opportunity to step in and take the record. But nobody did. Zallard remained at the top unchallenged, with the closest player still being Hootie. It's quite rare to have records undisputed for this long, but Zallard's mastery of the game was far ahead of anyone else's. Finally, 18 months after his 243, he went back to attempts. It was hard to expect a record right away, since it had been so long since his last attempts. It took some time to get back into it, but he eventually started getting runs deep. Still, nothing good enough for a record. But all of a sudden, on November 29th, 2017, Zallard found himself on this run.
This is kind of stupid. Dude, if I get the KO, there's no way I'm getting the KO, dude. No fucking way, dude. No fucking way. What is this? What is this bullshit? Alright, Rick could totally fucking dodge me, and it could still be okay. I'm gonna miss, dude. I'm gonna miss. Fuck, dude.
One of the toughest things to do in speedrunning is executing under pressure. Super Punch-Out may be known for its randomness, but even when the luck aligns, you still have to execute. And if you don't, you're gonna get punished. Fortunately, after years of running the game, Zallard had become quite resilient, and a few months later, he had another run ahead into the special circuit, albeit not quite as far ahead. But suddenly, after managing a 10 on Hoy, the pace became much more serious. A 6-second lead late in the run, just 2 fights to go, A huge chance for redemption. Wanna guess what Rick did in phase 3? Of course. Still, he led by about a second, and hit the counters on Nick for a small record.
That's it.
It wasn't what it could have been, but a 242 was still progress made. And on April 26,